The 2008 financial crisis was one of the worst economic downturns in modern history, triggered by the collapse of the US housing market. Imagine a giant game of Jenga, where each block represents a part of the financial system. Banks, investors, and regular folks were pulling blocks out, stacking them higher, creating a precarious tower. Complexity often masks underlying instability. In 2008, that instability came crashing down. Buckle up, folks, things are about to get messy. Our story begins with subprime mortgages, home loans given to borrowers with less than stellar credit histories. Banks, lured by easy profits, threw caution to the wind and started doling out these subprime mortgages like candy on Halloween. Remember that game of Jenga we talked about earlier? The housing market was like a Jenga tower, growing unstoppably. Low interest rates and subprime mortgages fueled demand, sending home prices to unsustainable heights. Then, as interest rates rose, the music stopped. You'd think banks learned after those risky subprime mortgages, but no, things got worse. Banks bundled subprime mortgages into mortgage-backed securities, or MBS. They gave these MBS high ratings and sold them to unsuspecting investors. But wait, there's more. Enter the credit default swap, or CDS. It's like an insurance policy on mortgage-backed securities. Investors bought CDS to protect against MBS defaults. You didn't need to own an MBS to buy a CDS. This created a massive unregulated market, essentially gambling on MBS success or failure. Remember that Jenga tower? It was held together by hope, dreams, and borrowed money. Investment banks, flush with cash, had become highly leveraged. They were borrowing heavily to make riskier bets, like using your life savings and a loan to bet on poker. In September 2008, Lehman Brothers filed for bankruptcy. The housing bubble burst and their leveraged bets collapsed. This bankruptcy sent shockwaves through the global financial system. The collapse of Lehman Brothers was like a lit match on gasoline. Panic spread through the financial system. Stock markets plummeted, wiping out trillions in wealth. Credit markets froze, making it hard for businesses to get loans. The financial crisis morphed into a global recession. Unemployment soared, millions lost their jobs, homes, and savings. Faced with a financial meltdown, governments worldwide took unprecedented action. In the US, the government implemented TARP, a $700 billion bailout for banks. The idea was to inject cash into the financial system, prevent collapse, and revive the economy. The 2008 financial crisis left a legacy of public distrust in financial institutions and governments. The crisis exposed deep flaws in the financial system, from lax regulation to reckless greed. Governments implemented stricter regulations like the Dodd-Frank Act to prevent another crisis. The 2008 financial crisis, greed, hubris, and bad decisions. You'd think we'd have learned our lesson, right? Yet over a decade later, we face the same issues. Are we doomed to repeat past mistakes, or can we finally build a stable, equitable financial system?